Sup flappers, today I bring to you Ayaka best team build video. Now, there are no definitive best team. However, I do believe there are teams that definitely stand up above the rest. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly which teams you should be looking for. And let me tell you, these teams are going to be free to play friendly. As you already see on screen right now, this current team consists of 2 5-stars. Yes, 2 5-stars is not essentially free to play friendly, but let me tell you, a lot of people have been playing this game for a very long time, and Ganyu was definitely one of those characters that people knew was OP when she got released. And essentially a lot of people did pick her up, and we just essentially finished the team with 2 4-stars, very popular 4-stars, and of course our queen Ayaka. So for people who don't have Ganyu, it's okay. You could actually replace her with Rosaria. So if that is a situation you are in, use Rosaria for now, and eventually when Ganyu does make her rerun, you can pick Ganyu up and then essentially complete this team if this is your cup of tea. As you can see, in this team, it's going to be Ayaka main DPS, Xiangling support DPS with Bennett as your healer and team buffer, and finally Ganyu as your cryo support. Now, I don't think I really need to go into detail as to exactly what this team does. I think it's very self-explanatory. Ganyu serves as the off-field cryo applicator, and Xiangling serves as the pyro applicator. And we got Bennett, and then we got Ayaka burst skill. So let me tell you, don't even try to worry about which is coming first. Like, oh, am I applying cryo, then proccing with pyro, or am I applying pyro, then proccing with cryo? Let me tell you, the whole point of this team is absolute melt chaos. Reverse melt, proper melt, it doesn't matter. As you can see with the footage on screen, all you need to do is use your skills, right? It doesn't get easier than this particular team when it comes to Ayaka. And Ayaka is the one that can facilitate this really well, because Ganyu's tick sometimes just doesn't feel like it's enough. It doesn't hit hard enough, and it's very difficult to selectively choose an area to target. And with Ayaka being in here, you are now able to have that target selection, that zone that you can completely just demolish. On top of that, Xiangling and Bennett that also serves as batteries for each other, as well as Ayaka and Ganyu. Furthermore, with cryo resonance, you end up getting extra crit rate. So this is a very solid team here for people to play. Very high damage potential. And essentially, there is no piece in this team that is lackluster. Now, with that said, let us move into Team 2. Now, Team 2, essentially here we have 2 cryo, 1 hydro, and then Venti is going to be that swirl. So this is going to be a freeze team. Now, this team is pretty solid. If you don't have Ganyu, you can use Rosaria. So this time I'm showing you guys Rosaria, but Ganyu here is just a chef's kiss, right? But it's okay, this team works with Rosaria. So as you can see the footage shown on screen, I am using Rosaria for this team. However, you may already notice that this team has a big issue, and that is the lack of healing. Essentially, there is no healing, there's no protection. This is a full throttle team, and I would argue that this team is the hardest team I'm about to show you guys because of the lack for defenses. However, the whole point of this team is the enemies essentially should not be able to move, and even if they are able to move, it's going to be very limited. And for people who knows exactly how Mona's kit work, you can work around her kit, Ayaka's kit, and Rosaria to make sure that enemies are always locked into that perma CC situation. But this is definitely a team that I would only recommend to the veterans of the game, or people who really want to go into the nitty-gritty and work the mechanics out for the team. It's definitely not as straightforward as Team 1. So with that said, let us move into Team 3. Now, the third team we currently have is a perma freeze team. Unlike Team 2, which you saw here, this is for full throttle power mode. This one is much more free to play friendly because you can actually replace Kazuha with Sucrose, and essentially this team is the dumbed down version of the previous one. It gets a job done. I want to say even better if you just know how Xingqiu works, how Sucrose would work. Of course, you can use Venti here as well, but I prefer Kazuha. I think Kazuha fits this scenario much better. So essentially, it's going to be Ayaka main DPS, Xingqiu support DPS, Diona is going to be your healer and shielder, and Kazuha in your support position. The team essentially plays around Xingqiu more than it does Ayaka, because Xingqiu is your hydro applicator, and with your hydro applicator, you can swirl it with Kazuha, creating a hydro field, and then you just use Ayaka to go to town. You got Diona essentially to shield and act as battery. Also, cryo resonance for the team as well, so that's going to benefit Xingqiu, that's going to benefit Kazuha, and of course, going to benefit Ayaka. This is a really, really good team. Arguably, I think currently the best free-to-play team anyone can put together. It's easy, it's simple, all these characters are available, and there are plenty of alternative options. Now, some people may want to put their child into this team comp, but here is what I suggest, okay? And it's essentially, you have to understand that Xingqiu is able to work in this position is because Xingqiu can make it work when he is off field. When you put someone like Child in this team, it just feels weird and awkward, because when Child leaves the field, hydro application kind of only lingers on enemies, and once you freeze them, it essentially disappears, and you have a very small window for Kazuha to kind of essentially swirl that and use his burst skill to apply it in a zone area. So it's very tricky. I really don't suggest using Child and Ayaka in this position. Xingqiu is definitely the top-notch character, and I highly suggest you guys try this team. I promise you, this team is going to be the best team. It's fun, it's easy, and it's very accessible. All right, so with that said, let me show you guys an alternative to the team I just showed. So now this is essentially the same team I just showed you, but full-on free-to-play. It doesn't get more free-to-play than this. I just want to let you know that this is an alternative I cannot show you because I never leveled up my Kaya and Barbara. Yes, I know, I'm sorry, but trust me, the concept is very similar, except that now your hydro applicator is going to be Barbara, who is going to be in the healer position instead of Xingqiu, who was in the support DPS position. But Kaya is going to work great alongside with Barbara. The cryo application is just going to be through the roof here, especially with Kaya's elemental skill being on such a short cooldown, and his elemental burst skill, which has insane cryo application all around and works essentially perfectly and flawlessly with Barbara. And Kamisato Ayaka is just going to be here to pump out that damage. On top, of course, we got a Nemo MC to do the whole swirling situation. Okay, so with that said, those are going to be, I think, currently the top 3 most popular teams that everybody is running and trying. I'm sure there are a lot more options, but definitely give these 3 teams a try. I did mention a couple alternative options, right? So if you don't have Ganyu, you can do Rosaria. Same in this situation. If you don't have Mona here, you can also use Barbara. If you think this is way too much, right? This is essentially another variation of this team. It's essentially the same thing. It's just this team does way more damage and it's much more high octane. And when you get this thing rolling and when it's working, everything just disappears, instantly disappear. Like you can run it in domain, you can run bosses, you can run anything disappear, right? The damage threshold is much higher. Now, these are all variations and you can just play around it, but let me tell you guys, Kamisato Ayaka works best in freeze teams running Blizzard Strayer. So for all of these teams, I do have her running Blizzard Strayer. Even for Ice and Fire team, she is running Blizzard Strayer. I just think it's such a good artifact set for her, and you guys should take full advantage of her current power state and how there is currently no countermeasures to a freeze team. So with that said, I'm gonna take my leave. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys are having fun in Genshin Impact. I really think currently we are at an all-time high for the game, and I'm gonna be live streaming tomorrow. I'm thinking about getting for Constellation 1 Ayaka. I don't know. All right, so I guess I'll see you all later today, essentially. And with that said, urge you all to stay safe and peace.